please don't forget to subscribe, because a lot of people that watch my videos don't subscribe apparently, and hit that bell. I'm also live every day on twitch.tv/Hasanabi after 11 a.m. Pacific. What's up, dude?
So man, your mic sounds like pro shit on Discord. It's really odd.
Hold on. It's probably because it's not my regular microphone, but a different microphone.
I turned it down.
Wait, how about now?
It's working.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I fixed it. Can you hear me now?
But yeah, I didn't look at your take on this, okay? But I could be wrong about this. But you know that in our day and age, most digital streaming websites and shit like that operate at a loss.
Yeah.
Right?
I already talked about that.
Yeah, right. And streaming is like the worst part of it, like by a long shot, right?
I talked about that too.
Right. Fuck. Yeah, I wasn't watching, so I came at the end. I think if streamers of like decent size ran ads properly, it would have never been a problem. The problem is cocklords like me.
And me too. I'd fucking never run ads on purpose.
Yeah, we ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah.
Because me and you and other decently big size streamers don't run ads. They have to do this because we ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah. I know.
Right.
Well, that's part of the reason why like some streamers literally get contractual obligations to run ads so that they can at least have like high premium higher CPM ad slots that Amazon can sell to advertisers, which they're literally already selling, but they're not but advertisers are not getting their end of the bargain when you can't even fucking you can't really sell those ads. But the point I was trying to make is ultimately we don't control it. That was what I was talking about. Like we don't have any control. If Twitch wanted to shutter their doors tomorrow and decide it's no longer profitable, we're shutting it down, they won't. There's other reasons for it. But if they wanted to do that, we just have no power. And it's something that it's a somber reminder of that reality when they do something like this, when they start pumping out ads without like literally asking the streamers at all.
I wonder what would have been better. A test like this or an email saying, yo guys, run 1 minute of ads if you're a partner, like 1 minute every hour or something like that, or like trial it or something, or like make it like an effort to push people to do them like privately instead of putting like a public notice that they'll be forced on everybody else, you know?
Yeah. Well, my fear is that element doesn't change. Like the element that like the control that they have over the platform doesn't change no matter what. So like tomorrow they could literally change it again. And that's just the truth. You know what I mean? Like tomorrow they could do fucking, if they're giving you 30 minutes of ad-free experience for 3 minutes of ads, which is what Asmongold is talking about, they could literally change that to 50-50 if they wanted to.
I mean, they could literally turn on your channel without telling you why. Right?
What did you say?
I mean, there's a lot of things that they can do. Things can change. Like you could get banned overnight, and they could terminate your channel. Like, you know,
exactly. And no matter how big, they could do that.
Exactly. Just like when you play video games, and you're like, oh, I have this skin, I have this, and like, well, no, you don't. You don't have anything. Like whenever you're playing like a League of Legends, or whatever, and you think you have all these skins, you don't have them. They're all their skins still. Like they can take them away anytime they want, right? Like you don't own shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And this is something people forget often. When they're playing games and they're buying skins and have an account and have a lot of things on it, it's not even theirs.
Yeah, just like we don't own the only thing we own right now is just ourselves. Like that's it. We just own, like you're xQc and you own that. I'm Hasanabi and I own that, but that's pretty much it. Like we don't own the means of our production. We don't own the website that we're on. We're workers.
Right.
We're very well paid workers, but we're still workers.
Often you talk about all the problems, but I don't hear you talk about the solutions.
Oh, well, in this circumstance, the solution, historically at the very least, is organized labor. It's putting together a streamers union. But I was talking about how difficult that is and how impossible that is. I did talk about the solutions. The only way to at least recreate a balance. The only way to put together a balance in that power dynamic is by getting together the entirety of the workplace and unionizing. That's how it's done.
Right. Do you feel like unions like that are healthy?
Yeah, I mean, think about the NBA unions. Think about the MLB baseball unions. Think about think about all these millionaire workers still, like actors and writers and directors and shit. They're all a part of unions, and they all have specific benefits that they can force corporations to give them because of that.
Right.
These are all still technically unions, even though their industry is contract work.
Yeah. What about when you face the concern that some people will do things and maximize the harm they can cause because they know that like they're in the union and like, are there a lot of concerns with unions that are like
this is a deranged
it's kind of hard to explain.
Has right.
There is always an element of corruption, no matter what happens, right? No matter what happens, there's always going to be some level of corruption. If corruption is inevitable, I'd rather have the corrupt force
Right.
have the best interests of the largest number of people as possible. And what you're talking about happens with police unions all the fucking time, for example. But the job of the police force is a little bit different than like just entertainment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like let's say you work at a place and like they're unionized, and somebody will do something that's wrong or bad. He's like, it doesn't matter because I can't get fired because of this, that, and the fucking union, so it doesn't matter. Like I'm not gonna get fired for it.
Yeah,
pervert.
xQc.
That's usually a concern, I think, with unions sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, unions can set forward protections that create protections that would like stop bad workers from being punished or something like that. But even then there are ways to get around that. But more often than not, like I said, the benefit of having a unionized workforce is just to restore some balance to the dynamic between bosses and workers. That's all it is. Because the only way that you can push back against things that are completely outside of your control or outside of your power is by getting together and collectively bargaining, saying, hey, we're going to no longer work. And as streamers, you and I understand that, I mean, we feel very replaceable, right? You feel like if you didn't stream one day, like someone else is going to take your place.
Oh, yeah, for sure. People always talk about, oh, I like your stream, blah, 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 blah. Hey, I really like this, that. Dude, I'm rooted in what's real and what's like, I don't live in a fucking fantasy. Like, I know that if I was gone the next day, like, it'll trickle out to other people and I'll get replaced within a day or an hour.
Yeah. Wait, actually, think about this. This is an example that you use all the time. What do you always say? You always say, dude, a lot of these places, dude, they're doing the wrong things. Like you say like YouTube, for example, as a platform, is constantly making mistakes with their live streaming, right?
Yeah,
and it feels like it would be... What?
What else are they going to do? Watch Daily Motion?
No, but you always point out a lot of the flaws that these like big corporations have, and if they only like spoke to fucking streamers like yourself and listen to the advice that streamers like yourself give them, they would be not fucking up as much, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I don't have to do that is because there's no competition, as you already fucking jokingly pointed out. What are they competing against? Daily Motion or Vimeo? No, of course not.
If you had 10 new just chatting political good-looking Andes, you would start making content pieces and interviews with live people, and you would bring guests on your show to try to stay competitive with the content, but you don't have to. Right? Yeah.
You're thinking about it from streaming point of view, but you're not thinking about it from like the streamers being workers, though. Yeah, you're saying that competition would force my hand to improve my product, But I'm already constantly trying to improve my product as best as I can.
Yeah, true. But
and so are you. Like,
yeah,
you're
all
not.
of us can do much better. Results are very counteractive. I feel like good results and positive patterns are damaging content overall, and that I think people coming from YouTube and shit like that, and people coming from like more like company sided things, less it's not all bad, you know. Having produced shows and more organized broadcast isn't bad because it might inspire and it might upset people into improving their content, and we'll have overall better content in the end.
Yeah, but what I was trying to say is not specifically from the point of view of like YouTube having no competition, but what I was trying to get you to recognize here is that like the way that you could force YouTube's hand or Twitch's hand, the only way, as a matter of fact, to be able to force their hand is, unfortunately, through, or I guess fortunately, through unionized collective bargaining.
Yeah. You're right. I have a question though. What if your workers are wrong?
That can happen as well. Certainly.
Can that be more damaging? Just like when let's say the whole community in a video game of that playing competitively want a certain change, and they get their change, and the change was wrong.
Yeah, that can definitely happen. But the counter to that is that there is no element of balance right now. Like when a company is wrong, we expect the company to be wrong. They suffer the consequences by, getting hits in their profit. But the company can make that. The company makes that decision on their own, exclusively, without even thinking about the workers in that circumstance. The workers aren't necessarily always right. It's just that collective bargaining in this circumstance is just to reinstate some level of power to the workers so that they can offer protections, or they can bargain for protections. That's it. I'm not even saying that like worker unions are always right. I'm not saying that there's not corruption there. What I'm simply stating is unionizing is just about adding an element of power to the equation, because no matter which way you look at it, divided we beg, but united we bargain. Because the only power that we have is when we stand together.
Yeah,
and
that's
the truth. But having said that, though, with Twitch, with streamers, especially large streamers like ourselves, it's pretty difficult because Twitch treats us really fucking well. So there are only a few instances where you recognize the little amount of power that you have against the powerful corporation like Amazon. And this is one of them. And the other one, of course, is like when, Dr. Disrespect got banned, for example, or like TOS banning.
Yeah. You have to go out of your way, and you have to go out of your good comfort zone to go seek out the actual problems that are right under you. Because if you're not feeling them, you're not gonna see them. You have to go like seek them out and understand them. Some problems or issues that smaller or medium partners have that you don't have, you're not gonna see them or feel them. You have to mechanically go seek them out and go talk to people and go understand them from their point of view. Otherwise, you'll never see them, right? It's why I think it's good in streaming when
smaller streamers get impacted by this a lot worse than we do, because we have access directly to Twitch, or at least a representative at Twitch. We have account managers. We have established relationships within the Twitch infrastructure on the staff side. So we have a direct way to have a conversation and have people hear our concerns.
Right.
Like they want to know. I mean, I'm sure you've been asked this too, but like Twitch wants to know what I personally feel about ads being blasted on my platform, like ads being blasted on my content. Like they want to know. They want to hear feedback from someone like myself. Will they listen to their feedback, and will they change their mentality? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Feedback is good, but at the end, there's like their winning condition. They still need something to submit, like that. If they're doing it, it's because they need it, right? So the solution and feedback you'll find won't be a middle ground. It'll be much more on their side and your side, regardless of what you think or what you give as feedback.
We think it's great that our employees are
like you when there's a need from corporate, let's say that, we're not making money, right? And we need the ads to run to make this valuable and good. your feedback and solution, if it doesn't include you running a ton of ads, won't really do much, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there needs to be a back and forth, if that's what you're saying. Like, there needs to be a back and forth between like streamers and the platform, because obviously, like, the owners of the platform have a better understanding and have entire fucking groups of people dedicated to like making it more profitable and having longevity on Twitch. But even to have like a true back and forth, you need to have some power. And if streamers are seen as replaceable labor, then they have no power, because there will always be a new xQc, or there will always be new political Andes that take our place when we get banned, or when we are done streaming and we no longer want to stream or move somewhere else, you know? So so that's the only thing I'm mentioning when I say like the benefits of unionization is always good for the workers, because we are still technically workers no matter how much money we make. Even though we are business owners on top of that.
Yeah, sometimes I want to, seems kind of weird to say, I kind of want to relive the motions, because, you know, like, I was like a zero viewer streamer. Like, I was like a 10 viewer streamer. I was like 100, 1,000, right? And every layer has its benefits and its problems along the way, right? But then even when you make it to pass these stages, right, you live through those motions. But if the system changes, right, and if the rules change and they add stuff like affiliate status or whatever, right, you kind of become out of touch, right? Because you would have to relive those problems and relive the whole thing, but that's not possible. So it's kind of hard to like.
It's hard to put yourself in the shoes of someone who's just up and coming.
Yeah, because you were there, but now the game changed, the system changed.
Yeah.
There's new hurdles and new bonuses. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, for sure. But that's just like, that's for everyone. Like, everyone has these sorts of these sorts of issues. But it's good that you recognize that at least, and then you work against it. You know?
Well, at the time we didn't have affiliate. Affiliate, I think is one of the best things to ever be implemented. I feel like affiliate is like really good. I feel like that saved a big portion of Twitch. Because there used to be a time where I could get partner, and they would never answer me. And my only French competitor in League of Legends got partnered out of some random whatever, out of the wazoo, just got partnered. And he would do like sub games, sub raffles, so whatever. And I couldn't compete anymore just because he was partner and I wasn't, right? Like, I literally couldn't compete because of it. I still ended up going above him, right? It was a huge hurdle. And now that they added affiliate, I think that cuts through all the problems like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a level of competition between an affiliate and a non-affiliate. Then, though, like, there's always going to be, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I'm not like anti-competition or anything like that. I don't think anyone really is. I think that competition does make innovation better. Competition does force a lot of people to go out and do stuff, for sure.
Yeah, but you not agree with that?
But it's all about. Like no. I think competition is good. Of course, I love competition, dude. I'm a fucking psycho. Like, I'm a pretty competitive person in certain fields, and not very competitive at all in others, like video games and shit. But what I'm simply stating is, like, no matter how much competition there is, I think everyone should be offered a base level of protection. You know what I mean? From certain things.
Oh, yeah.
Or rather, sense. Not even protection in a lot of instances, but just like bargaining power. To be able to have your demands and have some sort of force behind what you say. And it's not simply just a suggestion, but a demand. Because you have to listen to demands. You don't really have to listen to suggestions. If it's a suggestion, then your boss is like, yeah, if I'm feeling good, maybe I'll listen to it. Even if you have a good idea, they have all the power to just not listen to you and go about their way.
Well, they also don't need it, especially when there's like monopolies or whatever. Like, a good idea, something game changing, they don't need it. It's like when you're at the top, you're kind of lost, because who is there to look around at to get better and improve?
Yeah, and that same thing about that you said about competition also exists between Twitch and YouTube and the lack of like actual fucking competition in the live streaming space. So like when there is no competition for them, which is of course a product of like that's literally how Amazon operates. They monopolize. They operate at a loss for as long as they can, and then when there's no other fucking competitor in the space, then they can do whatever the fuck they want with your prices. Then they can do whatever the fuck they want with like offering you shittier and shittier service. It's like when you were in America, did you ever have a problem with like your ISP, for example, or your internet, or no?
Oh yeah, fucking oligopoly trash, dude.
Yeah, exactly. The reason why they can do that is because there is no fucking competition, because there's a natural barrier of entry. It's not cheap to fucking start an ISP. Like you can't just like tomorrow be like, I'm starting an ISP.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they can say, oh, but you signed a contract, and the contract says we will throttle your ass when we want, for any duration of time, just because we want to. And if you don't like that, what are you gonna do? What do you say? Sorry.
What are you gonna do? Go to another one? You can't go to another one.
Yeah, exactly. Is it Spectrum? I don't like that. Oh, okay, we'll take it out of the contract. Well,
yeah.
No, they're not gonna do that.
Yeah. So that's the element where like competition does actually work, but there are certain industries where you literally can't have fucking competition, especially when you grow as much as like Amazon has, or as much as like ISPs have. It's very difficult to actually have competition. So what has to happen in that circumstance is either the workers that work there have to say, no, you got to fix this from within. And if the workplace says, no, fuck off, we're not going to fix anything, you're just a worker, shut the fuck up, and then they do work stoppages to hit their bottom line, or you have to get the government to come in and regulate.
Yeah, I have a question though. How often do you think a corporate or a big multinational entity or whatever knows better and does something that they can't like explain or whatever, that is just for the greater good, but you think it's the opposite and you can't see it?
You're saying how often does a corporation do something for the greater good that we can't see?
Right.
No, I don't think corporations ever do anything for the greater good. I think they do things for profit that end up being for the greater good.
Okay, no, I'll rephrase that. Let's say I'll do it on the more like extreme level, so it's an easy argument. Let's say something happens in chat and it's really, really bad. So I end up like putting a ban phrase and censoring it or whatever, and nobody sees it because I know that if there's attention to it, it'll grow the problem, right? And it'll be like a big, and everything's gonna fall apart. And you know, I can explain that because I'm like, guys, I can't explain. It's just for the greater good, and I hope you trust me, whatever. How often do you think things like that happen?
Within corporations?
Oh yeah. Let's say in a realm or world where ISPs knew for a fact that it was like damaging for the planet to run the internet at max speed all day, and they incrementally lowered the speed because of like prime time and non prime time hours, right? To make it more like ecological. Right?
Well, why wouldn't they reveal that information though?
Yeah, you're right.
They would justify, that would be an immediate justification for their throttling, which is a significant problem that consumers hate. So the point is this: we know what you're talking about. I don't know an example of, right? But what we do know is you're talking about a space where you're competing with a fuckload, with like literally pretty much every other human being on the planet that can tomorrow become a massive streamer with it by exploding, right? Whereas ISPs have created a space where they literally are not, so they don't have to do that. As a matter of fact, the primary motive for every corporation is to literally get to that space. Everyone tries to be like Amazon so that they don't have to do that, and they never do that. At the very least, like throughout history, they have not done that. They do the exact opposite, as a matter of fact, whether it be like environmental regulations that they skirt, or they literally fucking like misrepresent to the EPA, for example, to like federal authorities, because it doesn't matter when they're dumping toxic waste into the river, like they're making money, and the complications that arise from that are going to come back and haunt them maybe fucking 20, 40 years down the line, and they'll just keep dumping as much as they can. Yeah, you saw the movie. It's a really good movie. What was it, like Dark?
Dark waters or something.
Yeah, exactly. Big Tobacco is an example of this. ExxonMobil is like a literal example of this currently still, where they've known since 1989 that carbon emissions were going to destroy the planet and global warming was going to happen. And instead of revealing this information to the government and trying to do something about it because it would destroy their business, they literally kept it a secret for as long as they did.
Right.
And then on top of that have worked against to develop counter messaging around it, because everybody just wants to make money in the short term and don't want to necessarily think about like the harm that it causes to people in the long term.
When people are stupid and have like flaws and are like, let's say, greedy, I feel like it gets way worse in groups. People are stupid, but they're much stupider in groups, right? And I feel like sometimes when there's like corporates, that it's such a big machine and so many moving parts, and people at the top, like let's say there's like a meeting or whatever with like 20 people. It's like, yo guys, we could do that for like a crazy amount of profit. We could roll so hard with all this profit. Like if it comes up to a vote.
Well, that's historically not true either, because when people do find out, if that was the case, then they would put it up to a vote and not keep it a secret, and only the board would know. You know what I mean? Right. People are dumb for sure, but when they get together, there are so many different opinions. There are so many different opinions that are represented. There can be back and forth conversation as long as everyone has access to the same information and knows the consequences. If in 1982 or 1989, like every single person that worked inside of Exxon, all the way down to the fucking janitor, was aware of this information, to be like, well, what the fuck? I don't want my future for my children to be destroyed. That sucks. And they could probably do something about it, even if it hurt them in the long term. And that's the reason why they don't let people know about this sort of information. They try to keep it hidden as best as possible, because greed in that circumstance is a much more powerful motivator than the collective learning about the inevitable consequences. If that wasn't the case, they would. If that wasn't the case, they wouldn't literally have like whistleblower protect. Like they wouldn't have such terrible treatment of whistleblowers, for example, people that come out and like speak out against corporate practices.
Right. Then it comes on fear is also a big motivator. Then, right?
Yeah, they keep you muzzled with fear. Like even me having this conversation sets me at odds with the ultimate like profit motive of Twitch. So it's definitely not a conversation that Amazon ever would want me to have, but I'm still having it because it's at the heart of my worldview and it's something that I believe in. And like this could get me literally in trouble. It's not even a joke.
Sure.
Are you coming with me? Feed my fantasy. Are you coming with me? Feed my fantasy.